In a world just overflowing with articles and research and data, I mean, how do we actually make information stick?
Yeah, it's a real challenge, isn't it? You go to a meeting, you watch a webinar, and then poof, it's gone.
Exactly. It feels like information overload is just the default setting now. We're constantly bombarded.
It's true. And without a real strategy, a lot of that valuable stuff just vanishes, like
Yeah.
trying to hold water in your hands.
Right. And that's why today we're diving into something I think is really powerful, a way to kind of rewire how your brain processes things.
We're talking visual note-taking, sometimes called sketchnoting.
Yeah, sketchnoting is not just, another skill to learn. It feels more like a whole different approach to understanding and, importantly, remembering.
And for this deep dive, we're looking at The Art of Visual Note-Taking by Emily Mills. It's a really practical guide.
And her story is great, isn't it? How she kind of fell into it.
Oh, totally. Accidentally. Just drawing cartoons on office whiteboards. It wasn't some grand plan.
I love that. It makes it feel like, okay, maybe I could do this too.
Exactly. It shows it's not about innate artistic talent. It really sets the stage for a practical look at how this works.
So that's our mission for you listening.
Yeah.
Let's unpack the core ideas, the practical stuff, from visual note-taking.
Yeah, the goal is you walk away feeling like you can actually use this to change how you process information, how you remember it.
And maybe even find a new way to communicate your own ideas.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Okay, so let's start with the absolute basics. What are visual notes? How are they different from, say, just scribbling words or doodling in the margins?
Right. So at its core, visual note-taking, or sketchnoting, is basically a hand-rendered visual record. It uses both drawings and written text together.
Hand-rendered. That feels important.
It is. And the main goal always is retaining information. Because as Emily Mills puts it, information has zero value if you can't remember it or share it.
Zero value. That's start.
Yeah.
And the hand-rendered part, does the physical act of drawing actually do something in our brains?
Precisely. That human element, whether it's pen on paper or stylus on screen, it forces a kind of engagement. And this brings us to a really key point. Visual notes are not just pretty pictures, and they're not just text. They happen where illustration and information overlap. The drawings have to clarify or organize the text. They need to be directly related.
No random cartoons just for decoration. The
Yeah.
drawing serves the information.
Exactly. Otherwise, it's just noise. It could even be confusing.
Okay, that makes sense. So how is it different from doodling? Because I know I doodle when I'm on calls sometimes, just absent-minded shapes.
That's a great distinction to make. Doodles are usually, like you said, absent-minded. Rough drawings you do without really thinking.
Yeah.
Visual notes are the opposite. They require your full focus, intentionality. Every line, every little icon is there on purpose to help you understand and remember. It's deliberate.
Deliberate engagement. Okay. And this isn't some new tech trend, is it? Visuals seem fundamental.
Well, absolutely fundamental. Emily points out how visuals cut across culture, age, language. Think about it, from ancient cave paintings.
Let's go. Right.
Yeah. All the way to modern emojis. We've always used visuals to communicate.
It's like a universal language.
Totally. Dan Rome has that great quote, "If you want to be in today's conversation, you need to be visual."
And so much of modern communication is visual when you stop and think about it. Apps, websites, videos.
Right. So if you're not using visuals, you're kind of missing out on a huge part of how people connect and understand today.
Which really makes you wonder why we default to just walls of text for notes, doesn't it?
Exactly.
So this brings us to the core question. Why? Why are visual notes so darn effective for learning and remembering things?
Well, the evidence is pretty strong. It's genuinely one of the best ways to learn. For starters, something like 65% of people identify as visual learners.
65%, that's a huge majority.
It is. And think about just hearing information, like in a lecture or meeting. The chances of that sticking long-term, shockingly low, actually.
So just listening isn't enough. That's slightly terrifying, given how much we listen to.
It is a bit sobering, but here's the good news. When you combine auditory learning listening with visual and kinetic learning.
Kinetic meaning the physical act of drawing.
Exactly, drawing by hand. When you do that, you engage way more parts of your brain at the same time.
Okay.
And this multi-sensory approach, it can boost information retention by up to 6 times.
6 times. Wow. That's incredible.
It really is. You're learning by listening, seeing, and doing all at once. It's a full workout for your brain, not just one muscle group.
That's a great analogy. And beyond just the immediate learning boost, Emily Mills talks about creating something lasting. A
Well,
tangible artifact of your life. That phrase really stuck with me.
it's a beautiful idea, isn't it? Think about like Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks or Anne Frank's diary. They're
Hmm.
not just random notes. They're physical records of thoughts, experiences, things that mattered. Your visual notes might not, change the world,
Probably not.
but they become your personal legacy, a concrete trace of your insights, your learning journey. It adds this really profound personal layer to it.
Not just notes for the meeting, but a record of your thinking. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so who is this actually for? Is it really for everyone? Even people like me who swear they can't even draw a stick figure.
Yes, absolutely everyone. That's probably the biggest hurdle people face thinking they need artistic talent. You don't.
So it's not about being Picasso.
Not at all. The key is recognizability, making simple shapes that your brain understands.
Yeah.
Your brain is amazing at filling in the gaps. It's not about realistic art.
Okay, that's reassuring. So if someone gets past that mental block, where can they actually use this? What are the real-world applications?
Oh, it's incredibly broad. Think about learning environments. Teachers explaining tricky concepts visually.
Yeah.
Students, even young kids like 6 or 7, using it to map out ideas for a paper or just take better notes in class. The retention benefits are huge there.
And what about the business world? It often feels like death by PowerPoint, just endless text and bullets.
Right. Visual notes can be a serious advantage there. Remember Dan Rome's other quote? Whoever draws the best picture wins.
Huh. I like that.
It sounds bold, but think about it. Using visuals to document meetings, clarify complex stuff, make information engaging instead of just a wall of text. It helps everyone focus on the big ideas, the connections, not just drowning in details.
So are there different, types or styles of visual notes depending on the situation?
Yeah, broadly speaking, you can think of 2 main categories. First, there's lecture-based notes.
Okay.
These are the ones you take live, in real time. Think conferences, meetings, maybe even a sermon. You're dealing with a lot of external information, often complex.
And relying just on your ears is risky there.
Incredibly risky for retention, yeah.
So what's the second type?
Experience-based notes. These usually take later, after an experience.
Like reflecting on something.
Exactly. Reflecting on a trip, maybe writing down a recipe you tried, keeping a visual journal. The information is more personal, often easier to recall anyway. The idea is to be fully in the moment during the experience.
Right.
And then capture the essence later. Like Emily's story about trying to sketch note in a restaurant and spilling water everywhere.
Huh? Yeah, sometimes you just need to enjoy the meal.
Precisely. Live it first, capture it later.
And how you use them, does that change based on who you're doing it for? Yourself versus a group?
Definitely. If it's just for you, we usually call them sketch notes, typically done in a portable notebook.
Correct.
If you're documenting for a group, say at a conference, that's often called graphic recording, done on big formats, whiteboards, huge paper rolls.
I've seen those. They look impressive but hard to take home.
Yeah, they are. Taking good photos is key for sharing those. Then there's graphic facilitation.
That sounds more involved.
It is. That's where you're actually leading the meeting while visualizing everything being said in real time. Requires quite a bit of practice.
Okay.
And finally, you have things like visual videos or whiteboard videos, which is actually how Emily Mills got her start, simplifying complex ideas for online sharing.
So the advice is start small.
Absolutely. Start with a sketchbook just for yourself. Get comfortable. Then maybe try larger formats if the need or interest arises.
Okay, let's talk gear. People always want the magic pen, but Emily Mills says tools aren't the main thing.
That's such a crucial point. She literally says, some of the most effective visual notes I've seen were done with a ballpoint pen on a legal pad.
Huh. But
The real power isn't in the expensive tools, it's in the regular practice. Focus on the visuals, not the gadget.
right. But okay, assuming we need something to write on, what about surfaces? Paper, notebooks, whiteboards, digital. What are the trade-offs?
Sure, paper is cheap, easy, permanent. Downside, takes up space, can get damaged. Things to consider are color white is usually easiest, and the paper's weight, how sturdy it is.
Okay, and notebooks.
Notebooks add convenience, portability, protection. Pretty straightforward.
What about whiteboards? Good for groups, right?
Yeah.
But drawbacks.
Yeah, great for collaboration because they're easy to edit. But that's also a downside, they're not permanent, easily erased.
Ah.
Plus, they can be tricky to photograph well due to glare, and you usually have limited color options. And there's that trade-off. Time spent editing is time not spent listening.
Good point. And digital. Tablets are everywhere now.
Digital is hugely popular, and for good reason. You get endless tools, colors, brushes, layers. It's super convenient, easy to share, has its own light source.
But downsides.
Well, there's the cost, obviously. Some people, including Emily, find it can actually be slower for real-time capture. She often uses paper first, then refines digitally on her iPad.
Interesting workflow.
Yeah, and sometimes digital notes can look a bit generic or computerized. The screen surface can feel slippery compared to paper. And of course, battery life is always a thing.
Always the battery life. Okay, writing and drawing tools.
Mhm.
Emily really pushes using a pen over a pencil, especially when starting out. Why?
She calls it forced failure.
Forced failure. Sounds harsh.
Huh. But the idea is ink isn't easily erasable, so you're forced to commit to your lines. Surprisingly, this actually helps you learn faster and builds confidence because you can't constantly second guess and erase.
Huh. Okay, I can see that. Less fiddling.
Exactly. Plus, ink is usually easier to read than pencil. When picking a pen, think about quick-drying ink, crucial if you're left-handed.
Definitely.
And make sure it feels good in your hand, flows well on your surface. Felt tip, fine liner, gel pen, find what works for you.
Any other bits and pieces, miscellaneous supplies that turn out to be useful?
Yeah, a few handy things. A small ruler for straight lines, maybe a plastic bag if you're sketching outdoors, a simple pencil case, a clipboard or hard surface if you don't have a table.
Makes sense.
Your smartphone is actually great for quick spelling checks or looking up a reference image, and maybe some business cards if you plan on sharing your work publicly.
Right. So tools are tools. Practice is key.
Mm.
But Emily also stresses mindset.
Mm-hmm.
What's the crucial headspace for this?
Focus. Number 1, eliminate distractions, stay present, whether it's a live lecture or reflecting later.
Easier said than done sometimes.
Oh, definitely. And just as important, let go of perfectionism. You will not capture every single word. That's okay. Imperfect drawings, messy handwriting, totally fine. The goal is understanding the main points.
Not a perfect transcript.
Exactly. And finally, just go with the flow, be adaptable, the speaker jumps ahead, your favorite pen dies. Just adjust and keep going.
Okay, so mindset sorted. It sounds like a little prep work before you even start drawing can make a big difference too. How do you set yourself up for success?
Getting the best seat is huge. You need to hear clearly. And watch out for what Emily calls sneaky distractions.
Sneaky distractions, like what?
Things like high traffic doorways, chatty neighbors, people who fidget a lot, babies, even noisy air vents that can blast cold air or make pages flutter.
Ah, things you don't always think about.
Right. Her pro tip is to chat with the sound booth folks at events. Ask them where the audio is clearest. Often, it's actually near them.
That's a great tip. What about getting hold of a schedule? She calls that a gold mine.
It really is. Schedules usually have speaker names, talk titles, times. You can pre-populate your header information name, title saving precious seconds when things kick off.
Smart.
And knowing the session length lets you do that time blocking we'll talk about later. Maybe plan one page per 30 minutes, roughly blocking out 5 15-minute chunks. Helps manage your space.
Good planning.
Oh, and a practical aside, dress in layers. Conference rooms are notorious for wild temperature swings.
Ah, so true. Okay, seated, prepped, layered. Now, the most crucial skill, listening. What's the difference between just hearing and really listening for visual notes?
It's fundamental. Hearing is just sound waves hitting your ears, passive. Listening is intentional focus, making meaning from those sounds.
Okay.
Most of us default to what Emily calls head-to-heart listening. Information comes in, but then it immediately gets filtered through our own thoughts, feelings, judgments. Do I agree? What's for lunch? This reminds me of.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. My brain definitely does that.
Yeah. Mine too. But by the time you process all that internal chatter, a lot of the actual information is lost.
So the goal is head-to-hand listening.
Exactly. Active listening, trying to get the information straight from your ears, through your brain, onto the page with minimal internal commentary.
Like a conduit.
Kind of, yeah. You're focused purely on capturing the content, not analyzing it in the moment. Emily mentions people being surprised by how much detail she captures, and it's because she's minimizing that internal filter.
How do you know if you're drifting back into head-to-heart?
You'll catch yourself thinking those distracting thoughts, judging the speaker, planning your response, thinking about unrelated stuff. That's your cue to gently refocus on just capturing.
Okay. But you can't capture everything. How do you pick out the important stuff? There are cues.
Yes, definitely. And speakers often give them consciously or not.
Right.
Verbal cues are obvious. There are 3 key steps. My main point is to sum up.
Right. They literally tell you.
Often, yeah. Repetition is another big one. Good speakers often bookend ideas, introduce it, explain it, then circle back to it. That repetition signals importance.
What else? I notice speakers sometimes pause.
Exactly. Pauses, whether deliberate or just catching a breath, often happen right before or after a key point. Big flag.
Okay.
Also, look at what's on screen, slides, videos. Usually important, though. Use judgment if a slide is just packed with text.
Yeah. Avoid just copying a dense slide.
Right. Watch their gestures, too. Hand movements, body language can emphasize points. And listen for changes in speed or volume. Passion often means importance.
What about stories? Speakers love starting with stories. Do you capture all that?
Good question. The advice is generally to wait a minute or two. Sometimes it's just a warm-up anecdote.
Yeah.
If it goes on longer or clearly illustrates a main point, then capture the essence, maybe a small drawing, key phrase, but not every detail.
Got it. Okay, we're prepped, listening like pros. Time for pen to meet paper. Let's talk writing first. Handwriting anxiety is real.
It is. But the good news is, legibility really does improve with practice. Emily suggests literally practicing your print alphabet like you did in school, treating letters like little drawings.
Back to basics.
Yeah, she even shows her own early notes, barely readable, versus her later, much clearer style. Practice pays off. You can also practice block letters for titles, maybe some basic cursive if that works for you.
What about making text look more interesting, like adding serifs, those little feet?
Yeah, serifs are a simple way to add a bit of visual flair, especially to headlines. Makes them stand out. Simple embellishments like a drop shadow or a bit of texture can work too.
But be careful not to get lost in decorating.
Exactly. The warning is always, don't let embellishments distract you from listening. You can always add them later during refinement. Leave some space if you think you'll want to jazz something up.
Okay. And organizing the text on the page. Hierarchy seems important.
Crucial. Hierarchy is your system for showing importance at a glance. It creates visual balance. Emily suggests using 3 main writing sizes consistently.
3 sizes.
Yep. Headline. Largest follows on main ideas, subheadline. Smaller for key phrases, quotes. And body, your normal handwriting, for most of the details. Consistency here makes a huge difference in readability.
Right. Okay, now the drawing part. The I can't draw fear. Let's tackle that.
Yes. This is probably the most important mindset shift for visual notes. Aim for recognizable, not realistic.
Recognizable, not realistic. Say that again.
Recognizable, not realistic. Your brain is wired to understand simple images. You absolutely do not need to be an artist.
So think basic shapes.
Exactly. All drawings boil down to dots, lines, and shapes. See the possibilities in those simple forms. Let your brain make the connections.
And you can improve drawings over time, leveling up.
Totally. It's a process. Add a bit of shading, a key detail, maybe some context or color if it makes it clearer or more recognizable, but start simple.
What about drawing people? That feels daunting.
It can, but again, simple is key. Stick figures, star people, A-frame people, oval bodies, start there. For emotion, focus on the face.
Cartoon faces.
Yeah, break them down, simple head shapes, basic eyes, nose, mouth, ears, hair. Exaggerate a little for clarity. Emojis are great inspiration. Avoid fussy details like nostrils on simple noses often looks weird.
Good tip. And hands. The artist's nightmare.
Still aiming for recognizable. Think basic parts. Palm, fingers, thumb. Try a stick hand, a mitten shape, simple cartoon hand. If the basic structure is there, people will get it. Recognizable, not realistic.
Okay, I'm starting to believe it might be possible.
Mm-hmm.
So once you have text and drawings, how do you guide the eye? Visual direction.
Right. Things like containers, boxes, bubbles, banners are great for grouping related info or highlighting a key quote. Get creative with styles.
And lists.
Numbers are good for lists, obviously, but Emily advises maybe waiting to write the number until the speaker finishes the list or penciling it in because presenters often change their minds mid-list.
Good point.
And arrows.
Arrows are your best friend for showing flow and connection. They can be simple guides, part of a title, even form containers. Super versatile for directing attention. So you've captured all this great info, maybe in a rush. How do you find stuff again later, quickly?
2 key tools here, icons and indexing. Icons are like your personal visual shorthand. Small, simple drawings for common ideas or categories. Think map symbols. Keep them consistent and small enough not to distract.
Like a little light bulb for idea or a question mark.
Exactly. Things you use often. And indexing is for organizing your sketchbooks over time.
How does that work?
Simple process. Write date ranges on the cover or spine. Inside the cover, list the talks or topics with their page numbers, like a table of contents for your own notes.
That sounds incredibly useful if you build up a library.
It really is. You can even add your little icons next to the entries in your index for faster scanning later on.
Smart. Now, what about diagrams? Speakers sometimes show complex charts or graphs. You can't always copy those perfectly live.
Right, and you usually don't need to. For live notes, focus on capturing the main message of the diagram. What's the key takeaway? Sales went up. This process flows in a circle. There are 5 parts.
Not every single data point.
Exactly. Emily outlines 5 main types you'll see: flowcharts, graphs, lists, pictorial metaphors, and pie charts. Knowing the types helps you quickly grasp the core idea.
What if the presenter goes super fast? Or the slide is just overwhelming?
First, don't panic. If it's really complex or fast, snap a quick photo with your phone. You can decide later if you even need to draw it or if the main point was covered elsewhere.
Good backup plan.
And if they're throwing lots of numbers at you, try to pair those numbers with a visual. Show, don't just tell. Draw that upward arrow for the 50% increase. Makes it much more immediate.
It sounds like over time you build up this collection of images you can draw easily. A visual library.
That's exactly it. A mental and maybe even physical bank of images you draw often without needing to look them up.
How do you build one?
Start simple objects around you.
Yeah.
Then maybe things specific to your job or hobbies. Keep them somewhere, a notebook section, digital folder. Update it, practice drawing them in different ways: size, style, perspective. Things like books, brains, light bulbs, simple people figures become go-tos.
And visual metaphors. That sounds like taking it up a notch.
It is, but it's really powerful. It's about using pictures to create relatable scenarios for complex ideas. The goal isn't to be wildly original, it's clear communication. Finding common ground.
So you're not adding new info,
It-
just framing existing info differently.
Precisely. Using an image to make something abstract feel concrete and understandable. Like that megacorp example, picturing team growth as cultivating a garden. It clicks instantly.
How do you come up with them without getting stuck?
Emily suggests your first idea is often good enough. Pick keywords, brainstorm related images or synonyms, but don't force it, and crucially, don't let brainstorming a metaphor make you miss what the speaker is saying now. Capture first, metaphor later if needed.
Right. Okay, shifting gears, slightly structure and refinement. Let's talk headers. Why are they important?
Headers are like the title page. They give immediate context: who spoke, what was the topic, when, where. Essential for making sense of the notes later.
What goes in them?
Depends, but usually presenter name, talk title, maybe the event, date. Decide what's key. Think about hierarchy. Maybe block out space and pencil first, then ink it in. You can even pre-draw them if you have the schedule.
And layouts, the overall map of the page.
Yeah, layouts give you freedom, but also structure. Beginners usually start simple, left to right, top to bottom.
Like reading a book.
Exactly. But you can experiment. Zigzag for stories, spiral for wide pages. Careful you don't run out of room in the middle. Central blob for brainstorming, modular blocks for distinct topics.
The key is clarity, though, right? Good labels, arrows.
Always. The layout should serve the information, not confuse it. Good hierarchy, clear arrows, and labels are essential whatever layout you choose.
How do visual note takers manage to fill the page so perfectly? That seems like magic sometimes. Is that time blocking?
It's not magic, it's planning. Time blocking is key. You look at the schedule, pick your layout, then mentally, or lightly in pencil, divide your page into time chunks, say 10-minute blocks.
Wow.
It keeps you paced, helps ensure you don't cram everything into the first half or run out of space. Pro tip: leave a bit extra space for the last block.
Why the lost block?
Because speakers often rush at the end or cram in their most important summary points right before they finish. You need space for that final burst.
Good tip. What if you mess up the timing? Run out of space or have too much?
Happens to everyone. It's practice. Too little space. Maybe you're writing too big, trying to capture too much detail, or your time blocks were too long. Too much space. Writing too small, blocks too short, maybe not capturing enough of the core ideas. You learn your own patterns.
Okay. And refining. This happens after the main note taking.
Usually, yeah. Especially for lecture-based notes taken quickly, they might have gaps, unfinished drawings, no color. Refining is about cleaning them up for clarity and better recall.
Why bother if they're just for you?
Because even for yourself, refined notes are easier to understand later. It helps lock in the learning. Plus, if you ever do want to share, they're ready.
When do you refine?
Ideally, soon after. During a break, right after the session, while it's fresh.
What kind of things do you do?
Bolding or underlining keywords, filling in missed details if you remember them, finishing simple drawings, adding a bit of shading or color, maybe strengthening those guiding arrows or containers, tidying up, basically.
What about spelling mistakes if you're using ink?
Oops. Yeah, it happens. Accuracy matters because typos can distract. Some solutions. Keep a list of words you often misspell. Write part of a tricky word and fill it in later. Use a white gel pen or correction fluid for small fixes. Or sometimes just playfully cross it out or draw attention to it. Depends on the context.
Guiding shapes, shadows, color, these seem like refinement tools too, making things pop.
Exactly. Guiding shapes use a negative space, like borders or paths, to lead the eye. Shadows are super easy ways to make text or drawing stand out, just a simple line on one or two sides.
And color. It can look amazing, but also chaotic.
Keep it simple. That's the key. Emily's mantra is highlighter, not coloring book.
Huh. I like that.
Use color selectively for emphasis. Don't feel you need to color everything in. Start with black and gray. Then maybe add one accent color. That forces you to be selective.
Okay.
Then maybe two complementary colors. Then maybe three. But she advises stopping at three. More than that often just becomes visual noise. Color should clarify, not distract.
Okay, so pulling it all together, what makes visual notes good? Is it how pretty they are?
Absolutely not. The number one thing is content and accuracy. Do they capture the core message effectively? Information has no value if it's not remembered or understood. Notes have to be good, accurate, clear before they can look good.
What are signs of accurate good notes then?
Not missing key points or quotes, clearly distinguishing the main ideas from the fluff, having a clear hierarchy, and ultimately, can someone else, or your future self, understand the main message just by looking at them?
Content first. But then if the content is solid, how do you make them look good?
That's where basic principles of art and design can help if you want to level up the aesthetics. Things like balance, emphasis, making key things stand out, proportion, unity, making it feel cohesive, variety, keeping it interesting, rhythm, movement.
Sounds like Art 101.
It kind of is, but again, the main takeaway here is keep it simple. Go for memorable over masterpiece. Clarity over complexity, always.
Got it. And the final step, which sounds scary for many, sharing your work.
Yeah, this is where fear can creep in. Fear of judgment, not being good enough, comparing yourself to amazing sketchnoters online.
Totally.
Emily really encourages pushing past that. Everyone starts somewhere. Don't let fear stop you from taking the risk. Stop comparing. It's not a competition.
Yeah.
And remember her story, sharing those whiteboard cartoons literally launched her career. You never know.
That's inspiring. Okay,
Yeah,
so if you do share, how do you get a good photo of your notes?
Good lighting is key. Natural light, if possible. Get directly above the page, parallel edges. Watch out for shadows. Tap your screen to focus. Take a few shots. Basic photo editing brightness. Contrast can help too. A scanner works for smaller pages.
And why share? What's the value beyond just showing off?
Community. Connecting with others. Getting feedback, which helps you grow. And honestly, tracking your own progress. Other people often notice improvements you might miss yourself.
That's true. When's the best time to share, say, notes from an event?
As quickly as possible. Emily suggests within 30 minutes if you can. The info is fresh, relevant. Use hashtags so people can find it.
Are there times you shouldn't share?
Oh, absolutely. Private meetings, confidential info, internal company stuff. Always ask if you're unsure. Don't compromise safety or privacy. And trust your gut. If you're not proud of it or have ethical issues with the content, keep it private.
Makes sense. Okay, last couple of things. How do you keep improving?
Be self-aware. Track your own trends. Notice you're pacing too fast, too slow. Balance of text versus drawing. Writing size, use of space, color habits. Using consistent tools makes this easier.
And practice.
Practice, practice, practice. Daily, if possible, even just for a few minutes. You are improving, even if it feels slow. Sharing progress publicly can actually help you see it.
Any final tips specifically for left-handers? The smudge struggle is real.
It is. Fast, drying pens are your friend. Avoid inks that stay wet long. Sit strategically in groups to avoid elbow bumps from righties. And when refining, maybe work from right to left across the page to avoid dragging your hand over fresh ink.
Great practical advice. So wrapping this up, this deep dive really shows visual note-taking isn't just about drawing. It feels like a fundamental shift in how we engage with information.
It really is. It's about using more of your brain, visual, auditory, kinetic, whether you're studying, working through complex problems, or just trying to learn better. It boosts retention, deepens understanding, and honestly helps you communicate with way more clarity.
So this deep dive, it's really just step one for anyone listening, a step towards being a more informed, maybe more impactful communicator in whatever you do. Every time you capture an idea visually, you're not just taking a note.
You're actively building understanding, making the knowledge truly yours.
Yeah. And maybe a final thought to leave everyone with.
Okay.
If AI is getting so good at perfect text and images, how does the very human act, the slightly imperfect act of hand-rendered visual thinking become even more valuable?
Interesting question, like a counterpoint to automation.
Maybe. Could mastering this visual language be a new way to foster original thought, authentic connection in a world that feels increasingly automated? What happens when you stop just consuming visuals and start speaking that language yourself? One line, one image at a time, making your own ideas truly unforgettable.